Let's be honest. When you hear the word security, you probably still picture a simple lock and key, right? But in today's world, protecting a business, a school, or a hospital is, well, it's infinitely more complex. So today, we're going to break down how modern physical security really works, from the high-level strategy to the super smart tech, by taking a look at how the experts get it done.
It all starts with this simple phrase, securing what matters most. I mean, that sounds straightforward, doesn't it? It's the goal of any security plan, anywhere. But while that goal is easy to understand, actually pulling it off, that's a whole different story.
Because think about it, we're not just talking about putting stronger locks on the doors anymore. The threats themselves are more sophisticated, they're smarter, so our solutions have to be too. So the big question is, how exactly do you build a real fortress in the 21st century?
To help us answer that, we're going to look at a real-world example. Let's meet M3T Corporation. They're a veteran-owned small business, and they specialize in designing these exact kinds of modern integrated security systems. They give us a perfect window into how this all comes together.
And their mission statement, right here, it really gets to the heart of what modern security is all about. You see, it's not about just selling you a camera or an alarm system. It's about designing a complete solution where every single piece works together, custom-built to protect one specific place. And just look at who they serve. We're talking about some of the toughest security environments you can imagine. I mean, think about it. The security needs of a hospital, with its open access for the public, but also its super sensitive patient areas, are completely different from a government building that's protecting classified information. Each one requires its own unique blueprint.
And that brings us to a really critical idea. Great security isn't just about the gadgets and the gizmos. It's about the philosophy behind them.
Their framework is actually a pretty simple three-step process. Of course, it starts with technical expertise. You have to know your stuff. But they don't just lead with the tech. Their approach is all about first understanding exactly what a client needs, what their vulnerabilities are, and only then do they make the commitment to build a system that truly reduces that risk.
So what's the real product here? What are you actually buying? It's not a piece of hardware. It's assurance. It's that peace of mind, that confidence you get from knowing your security is handled by a robust, professional, and thoughtful system.
Okay, so how is that assurance actually delivered? Well, it comes down to the tools in the Security Toolbox. So let's pop the hood and take a look at the core components of any modern system. First up is access control. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like having a digital bouncer for your entire building. This is the tech, key cards, biometric scanners, secure turnstiles, that decides who can go where and when. It secures every single door and entry point.
Next, you've got visual intelligence, which is way more than just old-school CCTV. See, modern cameras don't just sit there and record. They analyze what they're seeing. They can send security alerts, sure, but they can also give you business insights, like tracking foot traffic patterns in a store. And rounding out this core trio is intrusion detection. Now, the key word here is proactive. Instead of just reacting after a break-in has already happened, these systems are designed to detect and respond to threats instantly, safeguarding people and property the very moment a threat emerges.
But here's where things get really cool. Those core tools we just talked about, they're getting a major upgrade. The next frontier is all about making security systems faster and a whole lot smarter. And it's all happening on what's called the edge. So, what in the world is the edge? Well, simply put, it just means the camera itself is doing the thinking. Instead of sending enormous video files across a network to a central server for analysis, the camera processes the data right there, on the spot. It sounds like a small shift, but it changes everything.
And the benefits are huge. Because the analysis is instant, the alerts are faster. You can also add more and more cameras to your system without having to buy bigger, more expensive servers, which makes the whole thing much more scalable. For a lot of smaller businesses, it can even eliminate the need for an on-site server entirely.
This technology also totally changes the math on a huge decision every business has to make. Should you go with an on-site system or a cloud-hosted one? On the left, you see the traditional model. And it's not just the server, right? It's the labor, the power to run it, the maintenance, the software licenses. Compare that to the right. The cloud solution is a much more predictable subscription, which really simplifies the long-term cost.
So, let's bring it all back together. We have the philosophy, we have the core tools, and we have this amazing new technology. When you put it all together, what's the final result? Well, it's all about turning that promise of assurance into a tangible reality.
And here, right here,
is the ultimate value proposition. True security isn't about you becoming a tech expert yourself. It's about being able to entrust all that complexity to professionals so that you can stay focused on what you do best, whether that's running your business, treating patients, or educating students.
I mean, this quote just sums it up perfectly. When you have 24/7 monitoring and a rapid response team, security stops being just a passive cost on a balance sheet. It becomes a strategic asset, one that gives you an unparalleled edge.
And that really brings us to our final thought. In a world where threats are constantly evolving, just having a security system isn't enough anymore. The real question you have to ask is whether that system is intelligent, proactive, and managed well enough to be ready for whatever comes next.